This is the CNC Router Tips Podcast, episode 23. The computer sends out a signal, the electronic picks it up, translates it, sends it to the motors, and the motors move the motion system. This is the CNC Router Tips Podcast, a show which answers one question from you, the listener, about CNC router tables, CNC software, hardware, web hosting, and business. I'll help you get started in your CNC hobby or business and help you cut through the confusion.
Today's episode is sponsored by themakersguide.com. The Maker's Guide. Useful tools for makers.
Hello everyone, I'm Bill Griggs, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the CNC Router Tips Podcast. Things are cooking along very nicely so far in 2016, and I have really enjoyed the growth, the increasing amount of people who are getting involved into the CNC routing through our Facebook group. One of the bonuses of that is that you get to see some really interesting work that people are producing on a variety of different machines. Today's question comes to us from one of the members of our group, Michael DeAllessio, and it's really going to be an interesting topic because it requires an opinion. And anytime you require an opinion on something, it's just leaves all sorts of room for controversy and back and forth, because other people may not think what you think, and that's the nature of having an opinion. Everybody's got one. There's no right or wrong answer to this question, so let's listen to it, and then I'll try and do my best to answer.
How's it going, Bill? This is Michael DeAllessio from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and here's my question. I'm a CNC machinist, and I've been one for about the last 20 years. Daily, I get to run these state-of-the-art machines, and I see the benefit of CNC routing every day. What I would like to be able to do is build a machine from a set of plans. And I'd like to know a breakdown of maybe the top 10 plans that are out there, being that I'm not a guy who has $50,000 to $100,000 to go out and buy one. So there's my question, Bill, and I'd like to hear your response.
Thanks for the question, Michael. I'm kind of looking forward to answering this question because I built my machines. All of the CNC routers that I've owned so far have been made from plans, and I enjoy making things from scratch, and this is kind of a way that I could afford to do it when it was time for me to do it. So I kind of like to encourage people whenever possible, if they want to start a project, that they should do it themselves. There's a lot of good reasons for that. One of them being, when you build your own machine, you know how to fix your own machine. And I think that's invaluable, and it'll save you a lot of time in the future, although it may take you more time in the present to build your own machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer this question, but I don't believe that I'm going to give you the 10 best plans, because I honestly haven't used all of these plans, so I can't speak for how good they are. I can just explain to you or show you some of the plans that I know of that are out there that might be of interest to you, and I'm sure that I'm going to forget a few, and that just will have to wait for another episode. Maybe we'll do another episode, because if you find something that's not on this list, well, just leave me a message in the comments, or and I'll be glad to look into it, because I can't know of every product that's out there. But here's some of the ones that I know of, and I'm going to give them in no particular order. The first company that makes plans that I think would be suitable for people to build CNC routers with is the one that I used, and this is why I'm starting with them first, because I'm the most familiar with what they offered and how the plans work. And that is Joe's CNC. And that's Joe's, Joes, CNC.com. And Joe is currently in the process of updating his website, so some of the machines that I mentioned may not be showing at this time, but probably by the time this airs or shortly thereafter, all of these will be up on his website, because I know that he's been feverishly working for the last few weeks to update his site. So the first plan set that Joe CNC offers was the 2006, Joe's 2006. And that was a free plan that he gave away to build a CNC router that was made mostly of MDF, medium density fiberboard, and gas pipe with roller skate bearings as the bearing surface. And Joe gave those plans away through the CNC Zone or through his website, and still does. And a lot of guys got their start with that machine. It builds up to about a 2 foot by 4 foot size machine, and it is very ruggedly built, and it's quite a builder's project. After Joe got done designing that set of plans, he came out with another one because he wanted a larger, more sturdy machine. And so he built the Joe's CNC Hybrid, and that is the first of his machines that I built. The Hybrid used MDF carriages, 80/20 aluminum rail, and angle iron to build it up. And it's a very sturdy lead screw style machine. And I built it, and it worked very well for me. It was a little slower than I liked initially, and that's why I and a few other people in the group went over to Rack and Pinion Drive, and Joe released plans for that a little bit later. And that's the last of Joe's machines that I built was his Hybrid 4x4, which is a really nice machine. Plans for that are about $75, and included in that is membership to Joe's forum, which has thousands and thousands of posts by builders with pictures and instructions on how they built their machine, and it's really good. I mean, at the time that I'm recording this, there are over 115,000 posts on 6,000 topics, so there's quite a bit of information there. Then, shortly after that, Joe came out with his current machine, which is the Evo, which stands for the Evolution. And essentially, it's a beefed up hybrid 4x4 with some major changes, with thicker X-axis, gantry, and, it's rack and pinion all out, and a welded steel frame. And that's a really good machine. It's a commercial level machine. Stack it up against pretty much anything. And that set of plans is included in that membership. When you buy into Joe's membership on his forum, you get access to all of those machines, including the one he's working on right now, which should be out shortly, the Titan, which is a benchtop mill, which was designed specifically to achieve one type of cutting that we'll wait until that's out to talk about. But if you're in the Joe CNC forum, you already have access to all this information, and if you're not, you might want to consider joining because it's a really nice forum. Okay, if you want to look at a set of those plans, you can get them at joescnc.com, and just order them and see what you like. Now, Joe does have kits available that include some of the parts of these projects, and you can get those on there and look around and see. The next set of plans that are out there is a free set of plans, and they're from CNC Router Parts. CNCRouterParts.com is a website that specializes in selling the components that you can build your own CNC machines for. And so in order to do that, CNC Router Tips, they give the plans away and give you a shopping cart where you can go and order the components or complete kit to build any of their machines. So, just type in your information and push a button and, UPS trucks will start showing up at your door, dropping off the components to the parts, which is really nice. The plans are available in PDF and in CAD form on their website. They have a variety of sizes from 24 inches by 48. So that's a CRP 2448. They've got a CRP 4848, which is a 4-foot by 4-foot machine. And they've got a CRP 48 by 96, or 4896, which is a 4-foot by 8-foot machine. And they also have these in pro versions, which are a little heavier duty and use, bigger components on the x-axis and a more specialized carriage for the z-axis. They also have a smaller size benchtop basic machine and a benchtop pro machine, which follows the same basic format, for those who want to assemble their own machine using parts. Now, I've used some components from CNC Router Parts, and they're very nice. I use a few of the rack and pinion drives to design my own components, and I am very satisfied with the quality of them. It's a good place to do business, and just like Joe CNC is. I've used both of these products, and I think they're good. Joe CNC and CNC Router Parts. Yeah, it's kind of funny when you have a website with a similar name. Okay, another plan that is out there that I have read a lot about but haven't actually used myself, and I hope I'm not murdering this name. It's Solsylva, SOLSYLVA. And they have a series of plans for building your own router. From the smallest, which is a 10-inch by 9-inch cutting area, they've got a 13 by 13, an 18 by 24, a 25 by 25, and a 24 by 48 machine. And they offer the plans for making all of these. And, they include a list of the tools that are needed and a materials list with each of these plans. And the plans range from $14 to $40. For $40, you get all 5 of the plans. So, you can pick and choose and see what size machine you wanted to build. These are typically made from materials like inexpensive off-the-shelf metal clamps and straps that are used to hold things in place. On some of them use steel rods for their bearing surfaces. Many things. They're designed for you to be able to build these easily from commonly available materials from like Lowe's and things like that. Now, obviously, you don't get your stepper drivers and things like that from a home center, but the machine components, most of those can be sourced from the hardware store. And that's what, really makes these an inexpensive option for somebody who, doesn't have a lot of money to throw at the project but still wants to build something. Another person who has been offering his plans for quite a while is Dave Gatton. And Dave Gatton runs Sidewinder CNC. And he has a set of plans available for them, and you can, just download the plans for free, or you can, hit the donate button, which I highly recommend you do, to help him out, because Dave gives you all the information you need to build a CNC router, including lots of videos on how he did it. I was not familiar with Dave's plans before about 6 months ago. And then when I started looking into it, I saw that he had quite a bit of information out on YouTube and in Twitter and pictures everywhere. And he's really done a great job to move forward the build-it-yourself CNC movement. And I applaud that. So Dave, aside from offering his plans, also offers a kit for one of his machines that you can buy and then assemble. So there's a lot of ways to go with the Sidewinder CNC. To get more information about the Sidewinder CNC, you would go to www.cncsidewinder.com. Before I built my machine, my Joe's CNC Hybrid, I was looking at another set of plans from another company called MechMate. And the MechMate is actually quite a bit larger. It's a full 4 foot by 8 foot machine. And there have been a lot of them built over the years at MechMate.com. That's spelled MECHMATE.com. And MechMate is a paid site. If you want to get the plans there, you have to join their forum, and the cost is $100 to join. And MechMate has many posts in their group from a ton of people who have joined. They've been around for quite a while. In fact, they have 67,000 posts, 32,000 members, and 3,081 threads on how to build their machine. Now, what's unique about the MechMate is that it, aside from the plans, it uses laser cut steel parts, which you can order from the site to construct it, and I-beams. So it's a very big, sturdy machine that could easily compete with other industrial machines. And the MechMate community is alive and well, and there's a lot of those machines out there. Every once in a while you'll see one pop up for sale here or there, but they put a lot of time into putting together their set of plans. And if I were going to build a large machine, it might be a MechMate, if I weren't designing it my own. So lastly, I'm going to mention one other source for plans, and that's a company which actually doesn't offer plans anymore that I could find on their website, but that I remember offering plans just a few years ago. Now they've transitioned to the point where they're offering kits, and I kind of hesitate to spend very much time on them because of that. It's really not fair to the others, but a lot of folks have seen their stuff on YouTube and other places, and it's Build Your CNC, and they have a variety of different size kits that you can get. They're made out of either plywood or MDF that you can assemble into working CNC machines, and you can get all the components from them. So that's another site for you to check out at buildyourcnc.com. Now, Mike, I know that there are many other plans out there, but this is we're already 20 minutes into this conversation, and I don't want to overwhelm people with too many options. There are a lot more out there in the public domain, and maybe we will go forward and do an episode about open source or public domain plans that are out there as well. So I hope that will help you in your search for a machine to build. And if you need any help in trying to determine it, I'm sure all of the sources that I've mentioned would be more than glad to chat with you on email or through Skype, or however they prefer to be contacted. So every single one of those companies I'm aware of have folks raving about their customer service. So I think you do yourself well to check them out before you decide on what it is that you'd like to build. Now, I think I mentioned the URL for each of those websites that was offering the plans, but in case I missed any, they'll be in the show notes, and you can check them out there. And for anyone who's wondering what are show notes, Show notes are just actually a blog post on the CNCRouterTips.com site. And if you're looking for the show notes for this particular episode, you can go to CNCRouterTips.com/23. And the 23 is just the episode number, and that will take you to the listing with each of the links that I've mentioned so far on today's show. Thanks, Mike, for your question, and because it was featured on the air, you'll be receiving a free gift. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to tell you about these plans, and we'll do that right after we hear from our sponsor.
Today's episode is sponsored by The Maker's Guide, creator of the Triple Edge Finder. Get the edge you need, save time and frustration on your CNC project, and make setup a snap. Save time and material. Set up your workpiece on your CNC router table faster than ever. Accurately set your Z-axis height first time, every time. Automatically locate the corner or edge of a workpiece. Reset your starting point in the middle of a program. Quality crafted right here in the USA on US-made CNC machines. Get the edge you need today. Go to www.themakersguide.com/edge. The Maker's Guide. Useful tools for makers.
Just a few more quick things and thoughts about, building your own CNC from a set of plans. You got to ask yourself, are you organized? Are you a person who can schedule products to arrive in time so that you can complete your next task in a plan? If so, then maybe building a CNC router table from plans is a good thing for you. You got to also ask yourself, do you have time to put into this project? And if the answer is yes, then this might be a good fit for you. If the answer is no, then you may want to consider buying a ready-made CNC router table. One other thing that you should ask yourself is, are you mechanically able to bolt things together, screw them together, nail them together, weld them together? If so, then building a CNC from plans might be for you. Have you ever looked at plans and understood them? If so, might be for you. Can you follow directions? If so, it might be for you. Now, in each of these cases, I know this is a subjective thing, and you really have to just try and evaluate whether this is an undertaking that you would like to do, because none of this is quick. The fastest I've ever seen anybody build a CNC router from plans was about 14 days, but the average is probably closer to 6 months to a year. So if your time frame allows you to do this, and you've got the time dedicated and the space to build one of these machines, then I see absolutely no reason why you can't do it. Most cases, you don't have to do any welding. Some you do, but in most you don't. So it's simply a matter of assembling things, and I think you can do it. And I love to see what you build. So if you go this path, why don't you tell me about it? Take a moment to send me a tweet on Twitter at Bill Griggs. I respond to all the tweets I get. Or you can leave me a message in our private Facebook group. Hashtag CNC Router Tips. I'd love to hear from you. So I hope this all helps. And Mike, I'm looking forward to seeing what you decide and which way you go with this, because it's always interesting to see someone build a new machine. I'm looking forward to seeing where you go. I often mention many different types of software during the episodes, and hardware and cutters, and it can get a little confusing. So what I did was I put together a page on my website, CNCRouterTips.com/resources. And on that page, I list all sorts of resources there, from books to tools to software, all the things that I use that make my CNC experience better and easier. And I hope you'll check it out. So again, it's CNCRouterTips.com/resources. Now, if you'd like to have your question featured on the air, here's how. Need help? ask me about your CNC router question on my podcast, the CNC Router Tips Podcast. I'll be glad to help or try and get you the help you need. I want this podcast to be a fun and personal experience for everyone and helpful. So let's keep it real and ask sensible questions. Please use common sense and show courtesy to everyone. That way everybody wins. Here are some guidelines to ensure that your question is qualified to be featured on the show. Please keep your questions under 1 minute in length. If it goes a little over that, that's fine, but don't ramble. If you have a website and URL, you're allowed to share it, but only once during the recording. Spammy or disrespectful or deeply private questions will not be considered for the podcast. If you need to ask more than one question, just make each question a separate voicemail. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in and listening to the CNC Router Tips podcast. If you'd like to join our free mailing list, you can go to cncroutertips.com, and there's a link right there on the top of the page which tells you how to do that. Thank you so much and have a great day.